How are you getting on today, Jeremy? You well?
Hey, I'm doing all right, man. I got my third cup of coffee already, and it's, so I guess we're doing all right.
Good, good. So I've been looking forward to this. There was a few things. One of your team reached out to me initially, and we pitched this as a co-presented show, so we can put it on both our feeds. Because I think certainly all of our audience are interested in podcasting. I think a lot of yours as well. Is that right? Have you got some good
Yeah, because
podcasters
we
in
have,
your
we have, we have
audience?
a couple different shows. One is more which is the Command Your Brand show, is more towards branding and podcasting and media and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Whereas the show I've done forever is more like politics and culture and stuff like that. But yeah, we're out there trying to do that.
Yeah, cool. The two things that stood out to me, I don't know if we'd spend maybe 30 minutes on these. One is you've been doing a lot of work on using AI to cut your production time recently, haven't you? So I'd love to dig into your workflows around that because we've been doing
Yeah.
a lot on that too. So we can dig into those. And also fueling podcast growth on YouTube too. That's something I've not done a lot on yet. So I'd love to have a chat about that too.
You're doing pretty well on YouTube though, from what I've seen though. Like your view counts are good and stuff like that. Your thumbnails are pretty good. So, but there's definitely a tech to YouTube, and there's also a few like simple things. And we can get into those in a bit of like what you can do that kind of generate more interest just because YouTube favors them.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So I've been doing YouTube for years, and you're right. I've got a decent enough following there. Nothing massive, but it's not bad.
Your
But it's
engagement's really good for your following number. That's the thing I find impressive, because like I think like you'll
cool.
see a lot of people are like, 150,000 followers, and you go to all their videos and it's like no engagement. So to me, that's usually a sign there's nothing there, right? Like that's the thing. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like they paid for it or something else.
Yes. Yeah. Well, so thank you for saying that. But the thing that I haven't been able to figure out so much recently or at all is growing the YouTube channel, we're growing the podcast, but how do you tie them both together more effectively? That's the part that I haven't found. So is that something you're finding working in terms of growing your podcast audience via the YouTube channel?
Well, the big thing is actually publishing your podcast to YouTube, right? Like that's a really vital part of it. So there was a change around, I think it was around January of this year, where YouTube Music's now picking up RSS feeds.
Yeah.
So as long as you're taking one of your podcast playlists and denoting it as a podcast, like it's going to get picked up in RSS. Now, here's the thing I will say. Unless somebody's already a audio podcast listener, chances are it's not going to grow your audio podcast, but it's going to grow your video podcast. You get what I'm saying? Like, because there's different modalities people come to. And YouTube is the number 2 search engine out there. So I'm not going to, lie to people and say like, if you do this, your audio podcast is going to 10x, because that's just not the case. Like you're going to see some growth because you have weird people like me that still use the native Apple Podcast app in their phone, even though most people hate it. I have no problem with it. So really it's about discoverability and getting found and understanding that building a video show is really the thing to do in 2024. And it's easier to get found. Like, I think that's the number one thing people have to understand. Like, as long as you stay within YouTube's rules, because I am an edgier person. I've broken the rules a few times, and it has hurt me here or there. If you look at my recent view counts, they're a lot lower than they were 6 months ago. But I did get myself in YouTube jail. But like it definitely is a really important thing to do to get out there. And no guarantees you're going to grow your audio podcast, but you can grow a video side of it.
I've worked with people, we've friends who are doing it that way. Actually, they're posting episodes on YouTube. They've posted the full podcast to YouTube. They're doing separate YouTube videos as well, and still managing to bring people back to the audio podcast too. So I know it can be done. I think it's just around that kind of. I think one of the tactics I've seen that work nicely actually for that is more of the chopping up a longer episode. I think that's the thing that people always fell down on, isn't it? Is it trying to repurpose like a big episode? You can
definitely do that. Like, you can definitely chop them up. And there's some great AI tools for that. So when we get to AI tools, we can definitely tell you about that. But like, for me, I'm just somebody that I've always put the long form podcast on there because it's always what worked. And we do clips and stuff like that as well. I've been back and forth on shorts and if you should be doing them, because I do find that shorts actually really hurt your view duration, because shorts listeners and viewers are a different type of viewer.
Okay.
But yeah, it's interesting. It definitely is.
So you can grow your numbers on shorts, but it doesn't necessarily translate into the types of audience that you want.
Yeah, and you have to be okay with that, right? Like if you're concerned about your view duration on your long form videos, like if you're posting a 30-minute video or a 60-minute video, whatever it might be, you have to kind of weigh, is it more valuable for me to have more subscribers versus is it more valuable to me to have more view duration on your long videos? And the few reasons you'd want view duration on your long videos, like number one, like you just want people listening to your podcast. Like I think that's the first part. The second part is if you're already, past 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers and you're in the partner program, you're going to make way more money off of long form videos. The actual, like what YouTube pays out on shorts is pathetically terrible. So it is really just a play of using them to get seen. That's about it, because it's a different type of viewer. So unless somebody really, a shorts viewer is somebody that wants to have things fast and get that hit in 60 seconds. Whereas somebody that's going to watch a long form video, I have some episodes that are like an hour and a half, right? So like you have to, there are some certain people that are going to look for that and they're going to use that as a pathway to get to your video. And there's a feature in shorts when you post them where you can actually add related episodes now. So if they watch that short and they want to watch the full episode, for some people that does work. And I've had a few videos where it really helped, but it is a different type of viewer.
Interesting. So you're posting it as a full-on podcast within YouTube's structure there. It's going on, it's picking up your RSS feed from your normal hosting, posting the episodes there. And you're seeing people picking up those episodes like an hour and a half, and they're watching them directly on YouTube.
Yeah. So like I'm getting like 17, 18-minute view durations on a YouTube video, which is great, because to count as a view on YouTube, 3 seconds is a view. So like if you're getting an average view duration, of 17, 18, 19, 20 minutes, like it's really good for a long form video. So that's what I've been seeing. And as I mentioned, the more we've done shorts, the more I have seen that average view duration drop to like 7 to 9 minutes. So it has an impact. It definitely does, but you have to weigh and I guess stepping it back, like when YouTube looks at a channel, if you create motion on the channel, they promote the whole channel more, right? Does that make sense? Like YouTube's algorithm is going to say, oh, this channel is popular. Okay, I'll promote these other videos more. That's why if you're using YouTube's promotional tab where you're actually running paid traffic, or if you're having shorts create motion, it does help the rest of your channel. It definitely does.
Yeah. Okay. What are you using? What are the sort of tactics you're seeing work well then in terms of concentrating just on the YouTube channel, just the podcast directly on YouTube? What are you seeing working for you other than, let's say, shorts? But if you want to dig into that more, for sure. But anything else that you're seeing work nicely there specifically for YouTube?
So YouTube, like the direction they're going is they're trying to push people, like they want people to watch YouTube like they watch TV. So they're really rewarding live content. So what we're actually doing is, I'm typically not somebody that's going to do a live video. I don't know about you. I'm not a huge fan of doing live video, but what I will do is actually use StreamYard for this as well. We use their simulated live feature, so that way we can kind of get the live stream. Because YouTube, you can use a video premiere where it plays like a live stream, or you can use a live stream. YouTube still it prefers live streams versus premieres. It does rank one above the other. You're going to have a video do substantially better as a live as you are as a premiere. So that's one part of it. How you're publishing is really, really important, and publish at the same time. So like our live streams, I actually used the community tab on YouTube, and I surveyed my audience. What time would you guys watch it? And it was overwhelmingly 9 o'clock at night. I have kids, not doing podcasts at 9 o'clock at night. Just not happening. And the logistics of scheduling guests at 9 o'clock at night could be a bit of a nightmare. So like I said, they are pre-recorded most of the time, unless there's a news story I want to cover. And we're live streaming at 9 o'clock at night. So that's one part of it, is the consistency and actually having it live streamed. The other thing too, when you get into like actually the title, the description, and the thumbnails are really, really important. Tags are important to a certain extent, but they're not as important as they used to be 5-6 years ago. We use a couple different tools for that. The first, and this kind of parlays me into AI tools that I love. The first is called Taja AI, TAJA. One of my literally favorite tools. You have to have your video posted on YouTube and processed but it doesn't have to be published. It just has to be marked unlisted. When a video is unlisted, YouTube doesn't treat it as published yet, right? So you're like, this video is brand new, timeline hasn't started yet, but you can like link things to it. So you take that link to that unlisted video, you post it on Taja, and what it'll do is it'll write different title variations for you, description variations for you, and then all the tags for them, and it'll score them on 0 to 100. And if you don't like them, you can keep asking for different variations. So like I've ran it like 5 times for a video, once in a while to get something I really like. And that's been really, really useful. Now, after I have that, what I'll then do is I use vidIQ, and I use vidIQ then to take a look at, based on what this produced for me. So it's, SEO and looking for the right keyword. How's my title actually scoring? Because a title is like one of the number one things to get people to watch a YouTube video. A good title is what's going to get you impressions, meaning like showing the video in front of people in search or in their feed. And so that's a lot of times, if you're not getting impressions, you need to take a look at your title. Usually under 70 characters is what you want to do. So if you're getting impressions, but you're not getting people to actually watch it, or your CTR, meaning your click-through rate, is terrible, that means you need to take a look at your thumbnail. That's kind of the order of things. Like impressions come from good titles. Click-through rate comes from a really good image. So, and there's different image testing softwares you can use out there. I know TubeBuddy has a feature for it. vidIQ has a feature for it. But having a really good thumbnail is important. And what I found too, in terms of like AI tools, because once again, I love AI tools. They make my life so much easier. There's a couple different ways that I like to work on thumbnails. Number one, Taja AI has an AI thumbnail creator where it'll give you like different options based on, the title, description, and thumbnails it created for you for that video. It reads your transcript and comes up with them. And it usually creates 3 at a time. So you can like keep having it make thumbnails until you get ones you like. Now, here's what you're going to run into. AI can't spell in visual. Like it can't spell. Like, I don't know. Have you seen that? It always looks like it's like Russian or like Hebrew or something, it's like
double
that.
Characters and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
it doesn't look, it's you're like, and you can't tell what the word is. So what I actually like to do then is take that image, if I like the image, right? And then I run that through Canva, because Canva, you can actually edit the text in an image or remove it.
Even if it's embedded. So there's text.
Oh, dude, this is why I think Canva is the underrated legend of the AI tools online, because it does so much stuff. It has, and we use a lot of these features. It has an image upscaler in it. So like, let's say you get a grainy image that really doesn't look great. It can upscale the resolution up to 8x. So it really helps you. Like, let's say you find an image and you're like, oh man, I really want to use this shot of this person's face, but like the actual resolution is terrible. You can run it through their image upscaler, and it's going to make an image you can now work with. But you can actually, with their text select, you can edit text or remove text from an image that's a picture. So it's a really great feature. It also has this feature called Magic Eraser, because sometimes when you're using AI to create a thumbnail, it's going to put a picture of a person in there that's not the person you want. So obviously you're going to put the person you want in there, but you can use Magic Eraser to remove that image without actually like ruining your thumbnail. So like there's a lot, like if you don't have the paid version of Canva and dove into some of these tools, like best $14 a month you ever spent, man. Like seriously.
I love Canva. It saves me so much time as well. I use it for everything, from advertising, like PPC creative to thumbnails.
The things I'm talking about are under the edit image tab if people can't find them. So like when you click on edit image, it's going to give you a ridiculous amount of features you can do to an image that you couldn't do 6 months ago. So when we get it, so that's one way we'll make an image. Sometimes Taja will make some I don't like. I use another software which is really good, called ChatGPT, which everybody else uses. So like, people have heard of that, but you have to have a paid ChatGPT account to use their DALL-E functionality. DALL-E is their graphic design and image software. And you have to describe to it like what you want, and then also make sure you're giving it the proper orientation of the image. Like, hey, I want this image to be 16:9 or whatever it is, to make sure which is the right size for a YouTube video. But using those, I'm able to really do a great job with generating thumbnails. And if you're going to change anything on your YouTube video, like let's say it's not doing well, change the thumbnail. Don't change the title. Don't change the description, because YouTube's already trying to get you impressions based on that. And to change that can either end the process altogether or make it start the process all over. But if you're not getting the results you like say the click-through rate of the views, an image is like the number one thing you can change, the thumbnail.
I've played a bit with the, is it vidIQ actually has thumbnail builder in it as well, doesn't it?
They
And it's,
do, but
yeah.
I'm sure it'll get better. But I found
Mm,
right now, I find it comes up with a lot of stuff that's like cartoonish.
yeah.
So I'm sure it'll get better in the future. But I like things that are a little bit more realistic. And
Yeah.
oftentimes, I know this sounds really complicated because there's a lot of steps to this, but like having a good image is so important to getting somebody to watch a video. So a lot of times, what I'll do is I'll actually take the image, and I have Photoshop templates for like what my branded thumbnails look like. So I'll take that image, pull it into Photoshop, and then either if I have to add people to it or whatever it might be, I'm usually going to do that in Photoshop.
Yeah. I liked I've used the vidIQ one. I totally agree. The style, you need more control over it. You need kind of they need to introduce a reprompt or whatever, like change this, change that. But I do like the fact that you can just put the text over the top. It's got the building. It's so quick to be able to overlay text with a few different styles on top of the image they give you. So even uploading actually a background image and then placing the text on top, it's quite nice. So I do like that. But you're absolutely right. Canva does exactly the same thing, but 10 times. Way more control as well.
Canva's awesome, man. Like it really is for like what it like. If you pay for one tool, it should be Canva. There's so much you can do with it.
Yeah. And you're right. The paid option gives you so many more resources too. Like we use the photos in there, we use the elements, so many more templates as well, actually, to make yourself stand out.
Well, we talked about those video clips before, like, and I don't think not everybody realizes this. Like, they have a whole B-roll like library, which is awesome. So like, I'm always doing all these like Roman Empire videos. I'm like, get me a picture of a Roman legionary, like, or a video of a Roman legionary. So it's like it's able to get you a lot of these things. Now it can't get you particular people. Like if you say I want a picture of like Justin Bieber, like it can't do that for you because a lot of those things are copyrighted. It can get you very generalized things like, oh, I want this building or that building or something like this. But that's for B-roll, that's really useful,
Yeah, just wait till the Sora approach becomes public and we can actually just say, right, I need a video of a Roman emperor walking past his legions of soldiers, and it'll actually just produce that on the fly. That was amazing.
Use Sora yet? Like, what is that like? Like, I've heard people talking about it, but I have not used it yet.
Yeah, it's not actually publicly available for export, but they've just shown some tech demos of it, and it's just absolutely mental. I mean, I'm sure they have developed, 100,000 test videos with it, and 99,990 of them were rubbish, and they've picked out the 10 good ones to show in their demo. But the demos are nuts.
And what's interesting too is YouTube's actually gotten really smart about this now, and they've added when you upload a video, you now have to attest if the video was created by a human or by AI.
Oh yeah.
So they do ask for an attest now because of things like that.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So there's some great, we're in the AI tools already. Let's just talk more about them. What are you using for, so that's a couple of the video things. Are you using many tools for the audio editing, audio production side of things at the moment?
So, audio, I'm usually just pulling from the video we create. So, and there's a few different tools I'm using for that. So I'll go through my whole process here, and you can kind of let me know, like, if you need me to stop or explain more. And I know these processes sound complicated, but trust me, they're not as much work as the regular editing that it would take to do a video or the audio or whatever it might be, and you're getting a way better end product. And even like when I talked about like making thumbnails, you don't have to do all those things I'm doing. I'm a maniac, right? Like I care a lot about my thumbnails. But when you're looking at like actual video editing, so and I know you've actually done a video on this because you had a video you did about the different recording softwares you could do. But I use Riverside FM for my recordings, and it's not because it's better or preference. It's just because they were the first one to do video with separate tracks. I'm like, great, I want that. I use Squadcast forever, and I kept talking to them like, guys, you need video, and like you could see yourself on video, but you couldn't record it yet. And I know eventually they did that, but Riverside I had hopped on because they had video like right away, and I just, for ease of use, I never changed. So I've been using them for like 3 years. So I do my recordings there. And what I'll do is I'll export a host track, a guest track, and then I'll use their editing feature to actually pop out a video that's a host and guest side by side. So it's essentially a 3-camera edit. Now, we use Premiere Pro for our editing. And we also use another software called Video Bolt to create intros, outros, and any like graphics that go over top, overlays that go over top. It is once again a really good use of your time and money because it's so easy. Like I'm able to put like social media headers and stuff in there that just are overlays for videos. And then there's a plugin that I use for Premiere Pro called Autopod.
Mm-hmm.
Autopod is
Great tool.
amazing.
Great tool.
So,
Yeah.
so I'll take those 3 tracks and I'll run it as a 3-camera edit. So that way, and then when you put it in, it takes like 60 seconds to basically edit the entire video from you. And it'll alternate between the guest, the host, and the side by side. So it creates a really cool like 3-camera edit effect. And then once again, I'll put the intros and outros that I made in Video Bolt on the end. So like we have like branded intros and outros. So it's a very easy way. Go ahead.
I was going to say, have you played with the auto editing in Premiere yet that they've introduced just quite recently, actually?
I did not know that feature existed. I've used a lot of the AI features in Photoshop. I did not know they existed in Premiere.
Yeah, so it used to be the kind of the realm of the Descripts. The Riverside have got a sort of element of this. We've got text-based editing in Alitu as well. It can cut out like the ums and the ahs and stuff like that. So it exists in other places, but I've always worked more in Premiere Pro than anything else. And they've just introduced free transcripts, so you can get the whole thing transcribed, and then you can go in and you can lift out ums and ahs, you can lift out filler words,
features,
extract them out.
Well, Riverside's supposed to have a new feature. Because I listen to Pod News every day, and Riverside is supposed to have a new feature coming out where they'll actually, if you edit the words, they'll make the mouth movement match.
Sync.
Whoa.
Yeah. Do you know what? This is a bit of a techie sidetrack, but there's so many tools out there can do that now. Like we get so. Alitu is our podcast editing software. So because we run that, I get outreach from all sorts of background tech companies, API companies, places like that run this type of software. And we get probably like 3-4 a week of just a new company that I've never heard of that get in touch and say something like, do you want to copy app A's feature here, which is, let's say, lip syncing, or like being able to edit the text and it simulates your voice to cover the gap. And they're just all over the place. All I can think, and I've had our engineers look into this a little bit, and it's basically there's models out there that you can just take off the shelf, just bring in, put into your own software if you like. And
the feature I'm looking for, because I think right now, there's only like an OBS plugin that does it, unless there's something else you know about, and I would love it, is there's ones out there for eye contact. Because I'm not reading off of a teleprompter most of the time. So it does create like issues for camera contact. Do you know any of those?
Not ones that look good at the moment. No.
That's a good description. Not ones that look good.
It's like the first lip sync tool that I found was absolutely terrifying. It was maybe 6 months ago. And it was, have you ever tried translating yourself into, say, a different language, Spanish or Japanese or something like that? You can.
No.
So tools out there so Wondercraft is a great one for that just now. They're one of the best out there for translating your voice, taking your voice and being able to make you speak in anything else. So I translated one of my half-hour YouTube videos into Spanish, and it brought it out, and I'm like, this is going to be really cool. I'll see myself speaking Spanish. And the voice was actually just about perfect. It did sound like my voice, but in a perfect Spanish accent. But the mouth was just like this cartoon mouth on my face, going all over the place. It was
Sylvester the cat lips just popping out, man.
Yes.
That's the image I have. Oh no.
Exactly. So yeah, but I mean, it's improving every day. I'm seeing demos all the time that are getting better and better and better. So yeah, you're absolutely right. The eye synchronization, the lip synchronization, the voice as well. It'll be. Yeah, it's so easy to fix things in the future.
Yeah, and I know what a lot of people will do is actually just put their camera behind a teleprompter so you can see the guests there. I haven't done that. Like in my studio, it's not crazy. I have a light there, and the one behind me for a hair light. And then I have one in front of me that's not on right now. It's only on if I wear a hat, so I don't get a face shadow from a hat. But it's... Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with that. I think one feature I do use, and it's not part of my recording process, is I use this, and I've been using it forever. The original version of the app was not very good. Now it's really good. It's called crisp.ai, and it's a background sound filter. And like, dude, I usually have fans running, an air conditioning unit, and it doesn't pick up anything, and the voice still stays very high quality.
So good. Do you know what as well? They've been around for years. I
They
remember
have,
seeing
yeah.
them in
I had
Discord. Yeah.
connected with them when they first started their company, because I think the founder had another company called TenWeb.
Yeah.
And the original version like was just, it was good. Like it sounded like when you used to download music on LimeWire, but
Yeah.
now like it's really good.
I find that really interesting because there's maybe 3, 4, or 5 companies I can think of right now who had really heavily AI powered features out like 3, 4, or 5 years ago, something like that. Crisp is one of them. I remember seeing them pop out, I don't know, 2019, 2020 in Discord. And
Yeah.
then one in our space as well. Have you come across Capshow at all?
No.
Capshow is basically writing for podcasters. It sounds a bit like, I've not come across Taja before, the one you mentioned before.
Taja is the bomb. It's a really great feature, really great software.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go and check it out. But it sounds like Capshow does a bit of that, as in you upload your transcript and it'll write a whole bunch of stuff. It'll create titles, social media posts, all that kind of stuff. But Capshow were running like 2019, 2020 as well, like before the current AI boom. And then suddenly, ChatGPT hits the news, and then all these other tools build on top of it based on that wrapper. So
it's kind of become like the crypto craze. You know what I mean? Like it's like, and it's like, because once again, like some of them are taking advantage of people don't know the difference between an artificial intelligence model and an algorithm. So for a lot of them, they're just like automated algorithms that existed for years, but they're calling it blah, blah, blah AI. And it's like, I get it. It's not, but that's fine. Run with it.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, absolutely. But it must be so frustrating to be in that bracket where you're way ahead of the game. It's really well protected at that point, and then suddenly something comes out and your whole business is just, the moat just disappears.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. AI tools then. Anything else? Anything else on your list of things you're using just now?
After I export that video, I'm then running it through video.ai. Once again, likely not an AI software, but a really great tool, just called AI. And what it actually does is it creates the thumbnails, or not the thumbnails, it creates the shorts and also the video segments. And it does a really good job at picking and scoring them. And I know there's other softwares out there that do it, but I haven't found ones that make the like 6 to 10 minute length videos for me, like this software really does, because everybody does shorts and things under 60 seconds. This does like full like segments, so I can just find them and upload them as like, a segment portion of my podcasts.
That's really interesting. I've been looking for something just like that actually, because I've been using Opus. You'll have used.
I use Opus too, and it does great like shorts, but it doesn't do like the long form stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've been missing actually. Is I've just been doing that manually in the last little while, just picking out, like using the transcript to get the time codes for sure, saves a bit of time. That's just ChatGPT transcript and ChatGPT ask for chapter markers. But yeah, it takes time. Yeah, cool. I'll go and check that out.
Yeah, it'll define the chapters for you, and then it'll make those chapters in the videos. It's a really, really, really useful tool. And also like Taja, when it does the description, title, and tags, it'll also write the chapters for you too, which is really useful.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. All right, so that's the segments. What else have we got then? Is it onto the publishing side now?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if I do anything else publishing wise, because like from there we're just kind of getting content out and promoting it across everything,
Yeah. You using any kind of AI assistance in your promotion side of things, like copywriting, creative, anything like that?
So I'm using ChatGPT quite a bit for that. But I guess the thing I've found, and I'm sure it'll get better. I still do a lot of manual copywriting. My team still does mostly manual copywriting. Like we'll use AI prompts to help us. But at the moment, I'm tired of let's dive into a journey. Like it's like it's definitely better and it's definitely useful. But number one, Google doesn't like it, so they're going to downrank your site if you're using things that are written in AI. But number two, like it doesn't write like people talk. So there's a lot of great tools out there to like generate things in written AI, and you can use them as a good prompt to prompt yourself with what you're going to do. But I still find for a good copywriter, there's really, no substitute for that at the moment.
For a human, yeah. I've tried. I know exactly what you mean. It's just certain words.
Yeah.
Humans don't say this word. You only ever see it written down.
Well, and it's the let's dive in and let's go on a journey. And it's like, no, I'm not doing that. No.
Yeah, and I've played a lot with prompts around in the style of. So write this in the style of him, write this in the style of her, and it just doesn't clean it up enough. I've even tried training it on our content as well. So we've got 1,000+ articles on the podcast host, all written by me, Matthew, or our voice, our style.
Yeah.
And even when you do that, I find it doesn't pick it up very well. So I do wonder.
There's one tool that I use quite a bit.
Okay.
And it's got like different uses. So I used to use
Mhm.
it for optimization before I found Taja for YouTube. Because your limitation on Chat GPT is the like 500 characters thing.
Yep.
So what I've actually been able to do, it's called GPT for Work, I think is what it's called. And it's a Chrome extension, but you have to have a paid Chat GPT account.
Mhm.
And it connects to that, and it's different than your regular Chat GPT account. It's like an actual like open AI account where it's
Yeah.
meant for like developers and stuff. But what you can actually do is it connects to Google Docs and also like Docs and also Google Sheets. So I've been able to take transcripts. I found that the cutoff where it kind of won't do it for me is around 50 minutes. But I can take a transcript that's up to around 45 to 50 minutes and then have it do something with that transcript. So like here's my favorite one. I do a lot of screen recordings to like teach my team how to do things. So then when you're doing that, you have to be cognizant like that I'm going to be using this transcript to do something else. So you have to make sure you say everything you're doing as you're doing it. But then what I'll do is I'll take that transcript, I'll put it into a Google Doc, and then I'll use GPT for Work. And I'll say, from this transcript, write a step-by-step process for me where the end user will be able to complete this process by the time they're done. It's really good, man, because you can put this tool is good because once again, the text limitations of regular Chat GPT, there's definitely a limit, but I've found that my transcripts, if they're around 45 to 50 minutes, is where it's going to say there's too much text. But there's a lot you can do that's under 45 minutes, man.
Oh yeah, I mean that's plenty of time. That just springs to mind like so many ideas around. I've not thought about the idea of taking a webinar, let's say, where you're going through a process or a presentation, whatever it might be. Chuck the transcript of that into ChatGPT and say, create a course for me from this. Break this down into lessons, 10, 15 lessons, 5 minutes at a time. Write me, chapters of a book, whatever that might be.
Well, here's my favorite one. Here's my favorite one because like sometimes like like since our main work is as a PR agency when representing clients, a lot of clients will come to you with an executive summary of the book. A lot of them won't. So what we'll do is like, okay, it's a 12-chapter book. Well, you can't put the whole book in, but you could do it chapter by chapter. Right? Write me an executive summary of this book, chapter by chapter. That is a very, very useful tool if you're trying to like catch up on something fast.
Yeah, nice. Have you played much with the custom GPTs in ChatGPT?
I have not, but I really need to because here's the thing I would like to figure out. If I can make a custom GPT that would understand what I would say and respond to YouTube comments for me, not just those generalized great comments, like that would be really useful.
Yeah, that's interesting. The places I've used it so far, I've used it a lot for writing actually. So it has kind of taken over from some of those other tools for me, as in I can make a custom GPT really easily, which will, when I chuck a transcript in through no prompts at all, will give me 5 titles, a couple of different variations of description, social media, chapter titles, all that kind of stuff. So you can really easily build that kind of workflow where it creates one thing from a result, but you can build training in there as well, as in give it 5 to 10 articles and get that tone of voice stuff in there. So it's the one way I've managed to make it slightly come towards our tone of voice as well, by inputting articles or writing into the custom GPT as well. So I want to play a lot more with it, but yeah, that kind of use case is really interesting actually, in terms of really taking your voice, cutting it down to small comment replies, all that. Yeah, I wonder.
That would be so useful because like, especially like for yourself or like for myself, like we're dealing with content that's very like, it's very particular, and it's going to turn somebody off if the comment that they're getting isn't a response to what you need for them. Right. But sometimes like if you have a video do really well, like I've had a last August, we were like really hitting it, man. Like I had a video hit 300,000 views, 150,000 views. And the number one thing that you run into when that happens is you want to respond to every comment because it's great to respond to every comment, but you cannot keep up. Like it just it comes in too fast.
Yeah, yeah. There'll be no doubt that'll be something that vidIQ and TubeBuddy seem to be building out fast at the moment. So I've no
They
doubt that
are,
that's
but
something we'll tackle.
their comment feature, like they have a comment feature, and you can like that. There's like it's like intelligent, witty, humorous, but the replies just aren't good. And
Oh,
I
is
feel like
it?
I
Is
feel
it
like they
just
come up as either like way too nice or way too mean.
really? Or just way too cheesy? I find a lot of really cheesy, right? That's what comes out of Chat GPT for me.
Yeah.
It's like super cheesy things. Yeah, yeah. We need the training more.
Yes.
It needs to be able to write in or even speak for, take one of our podcast. Do you know, I feel like actually that might be the way to do it, because I think training from our written material hasn't worked that well so far, but possibly taking a transcript of a podcast.
Yeah.
It's the way you speak. It's much more your actual personality. Possibly that's better training material. I need to try that actually over the next week or so.
I'm
Yeah.
interested to hear how that goes. So you have to update
Cool.
me.
Nice. All right. Anything else we want to cover before we tie up, do you think?
I think that's all I got, man. Like we really got in depth on this.
That's great.
I hope people out there will at least grab one of the things we talked about today
Yeah.
and try and figure out how to use it to get ahead, man.
I think they will. I think they will. All right. Should we just give people a few places to go then before we tie up? Where would they go to find your main stuff?
Yeah, so we're over at commandyourbrand.com. And once again, we're either, the Command Your Brand show on YouTube, or we're also the Jeremy Ryan Slate show on YouTube. It's the easiest way to find us.
Yeah, perfect. And we're over at thepodcasthost.com, which is our website. We've got loads of guides on there about how to run a podcast, how to start a podcast, monetize, everything there. And our YouTube channel is over there as well. So you can go over to youtube.com/thepodcasthost. You'll find it there. All right. Thanks, Jeremy. That was great fun.
Absolutely, man. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this. And once again, I hope we helped some